These are the ingredients to make a Jamaican beef patty. And we're going to have in this bouillon, that's 2 teaspoons of caldo de res, beef bouillon. There's 1 teaspoon of curry powder, 1 teaspoon of ground allspice, 2 tablespoons of ground turmeric, 1 teaspoon of Big Papa Smoker sriracha powder, 1 teaspoon of red chili flakes, 1½ teaspoons of paprika, salt and pepper, thyme, 4 garlic cloves minced, 2 tablespoons cornstarch, green onions sliced, yellow onions diced, 3 cups of all-purpose flour with the side dish for dusting the counter, and vegetable shortening. In addition, approximately 1½ pounds of ground brisket will be the meat filling. One of the advantages of doing barbecue competitions is that we often have to trim brisket, and there's quite a bit of trim that we take off and is remaining. So what I do is I freeze it and I save it for occasions like this when I need ground beef. I grind it out, so now I have freshly ground brisket. And this actually happens to be Wagyu brisket that we're going to use to make these beef patties. Now we're getting ready to make our beef patty filling. I've got my ground brisket and all my ingredients, my onions, my spices, my garlic, the turmeric, some chili peppers, and we're ready to go here. I'm going to start off by first getting the oil a little heated up. Adding the garlic. Add the garlic now just so that it can flavor the oil and be able to better penetrate the meat and make it flavorful. Being careful not to burn. I'm going to then add my onions. Green onions. And now I'm going to add my meat. Because this is a Wagyu brisket, there's a fair amount of fat in it. I couldn't really tell you if it were 80-20 or 70-30, but I'm leaning towards more the 70-30 side. And I didn't put very much oil in the pan, mainly because I know that this ground beef or ground brisket has quite a bit of oil in it. We're going to continue to cook this until we have good browning on it. We also want to make sure that it's pretty finely chopped because we don't want any huge pieces or chunks of beef. We want it to be fairly minced up. See that fat starting to render. I'm getting a lot more moisture. Contributed by both the fat and the onions. Next, I'm going to add salt and pepper. My beef bouillon, allspice, thyme, my spices. This includes paprika, some sriracha powder, and some red chili flakes. I know typically Scotch bonnet peppers are the primary heat source. However, I didn't have any, so I went with my next best thing to get some heat into this mixture. I'm going to also add the curry powder. The fragrance starting to come off of this should be intensified with this curry powder. Yes, it is. One of the things that I noticed while watching prior videos from other sources on making Jamaican beef patties was that everybody has their own recipe for an authentic version of Jamaican beef patties. So there's no consensus of what the ingredients should be or should not be. The biggest thing we're going for is flavor. The common things that are present are things like the curry powder and turmeric. I'm going to add some cornstarch, and the cornstarch is going to tighten it up a little bit. In addition, it should give it a much better texture and also make it look shiny. So we'll make sure we get all those flakes out of there. Now to this, I'm also going to add a little bit of water. And that's mainly to activate that cornstarch. Oh, yum. As with the addition of any spice, you got to rely upon your own taste buds to determine whether or not you have enough salt, pepper, or whatever. If you feel you want a flavor of something else in there, go for it, add it. And that's my filling, ground beef brisket with a lot of different seasonings and spices. We're gonna let that cool for a while we make the pastry. Now we're getting ready to do our pastry for our Jamaican beef patties. In the bowl I have 3 cups of flour, a half a cup of shortening, turmeric, and some salt. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to incorporate the flour and the shortening with the pastry utensil here I have. The advantage of using this little gadget here is that the mixture stays cooler and the shortening won't melt because of my hands. And what we're going for now is sort of like a mealy look. So you see how that's starting to look more like a little mealy looking? The advantage of doing this by hand and not in a food processor is that you keep the pieces of shortening a little bit larger. And so when it cooks, if you can just imagine when it cooks that the fat will be able to get hot and make a real crusty, flaky crust. And I've got some cold water. Even though the cup says there's a cup of it, I have ice cubes in it. I should only use a little bit less than half of a cup, hopefully. And this is when we get in and get nice and dirty with it. Don't want to mix it too much because I don't want to activate a lot of the glutens. And I assure you, my countertop here is very clean, so I'm not worried about any contaminants here. Okay. Now we're going to have to let this rest a little bit so that we can come back. Got it. Got plastic wrap. I'll wrap that up. Stick it in the refrigerator. Come back and we'll fill these babies with some beef brisket meat filling, and we're good to go. Lady of Q, Sylvie Curry. Did I cheat? Yes, I did. Good to go. Perfect. Our beef patties are prepped. Now we're going to put on a little egg wash, and that's just to give them color or sheen when they're finished. And we'll just coat those. We're going to stick them in a 350-degree oven and bake for maybe 15-20 minutes, depending upon the color that we get on the crust. Then when we are finished, we'll have our Jamaican beef patties. There we have it. We've got our Jamaican-inspired beef patties. They're looking good. They're too hot now to try, but when they cool off, we're gonna enjoy these babies. Jamaican-inspired beef patties from my kitchen. I'm going to enjoy, and these look very, very tasty to me. They're still quite hot. I'll try, but there we go. Next time, take care, Sylvie Curry, Lady of Cure.